Good evening, I'm Blunder, and welcome to the TruthOptionalNews Weekly Update, the only news program brave enough to ask, did the world seriously try all of this in 1 week? It's been a remarkable 7 days. International tensions escalated, economists invented new forms of confusion, Florida man filed another set of personal achievements, and scientists discovered things that absolutely should not exist, but insisted everything is fine. Meanwhile, Congress continued its beloved tradition of arguing loudly, solving nothing, and occasionally revolting against itself for variety. And through it all, humanity showed its resilience by ignoring every warning from experts and doubling down on the exact behaviors experts were warning about. So tonight we're going to look back at the biggest stories, the strangest headlines, and the moments that made the collective internet whisper, "I'm sorry, what?" This is your weekly update. Because if we don't summarize the chaos, it will summarize us. I'm Blunder with breaking news from the Department of International Anxiety. A House Republican has issued a warning about possible sabotage tactics by Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, which is political language for we don't know what will happen, but we're pretty sure it'll be dramatic. Officials say the tactics could range from cyber disruption to economic mischief, to good old-fashioned diplomatic side-eye. Analysts are unsure what Maduro might sabotage specifically, but they agree it will probably be something important, because unimportant things never get sabotaged. This segment is sponsored by Sabotage Shield, TM, the service that preemptively panics for you. Simply tell Sabotage Shield TM the name of any world leader, and it will instantly notify you of all the terrible things they might do, even if they done a T. In summary, officials don't know what Maduro plans to sabotage, but they're confident it will be concerning, complicated, and entirely above our pay grade. I'm Blunder, reminding you, truth is optional, but panic is bipartisan. I'm Blunder, with yet another calm, reasonable statement from Vladimir Putin, who now claims that Russia has super weapons capable of wiping out the West instantly. Experts say this is part of a long tradition known as talking very loudly so nobody notices what is actually happening. Analysts note that whenever a world leader mentions superweapons, it usually means the regular weapons are not doing great. They also add that if you really had the power to wipe out the West instantly, you probably wouldn't announce it in the same tone as a late-night infomercial. This segment is sponsored by Doomflex TM, the premier consulting service for insecure superpowers who really want everyone to know how scary they are. With Doomflex TM, you can loudly promise to destroy the world without having to prove you can win a normal war first. In conclusion, Putin says he can erase the West instantly, and which is comforting. Because if there's one thing history has taught us, it's that people who brag the loudest are always the most stable. I'm Blunder reminding you, truth is optional, but dramatic monologues about superweapons are mandatory. Blunder with breaking news from the department of that escalated quickly. Ukraine has reportedly wiped out 6 months of Russian drone production in a single strike, including 1,000 drones and 1,500 warheads. Experts say this is one of the most expensive oops moments in modern military history, second only to every time someone tries to invade a country with functional morale. Analysts note that the strike may have reset Russia's drone program back to the square one, which is impressive, considering most programs don't have the budget to afford a square one anymore. Meanwhile, Russia claims the loss is not significant, which is something people usually say right after losing something extremely significant. This segment is sponsored by Drone2Dust TM, the only service specializing in turning expensive drone fleets into modern art installations. With Drone2Dust TM, you can transform years of military investment into a single, unforgettable fireball. In conclusion, Ukraine claims victory, Russia claims it doesn't matter, and the rest of us claim we'd really appreciate a week without a major explosion. I'm Blunder reminding you, truth is optional, but drone factories are surprisingly flammable. Blunder and the world has failed to behave again. Today's headline: the House has voted to release the Epstein files, sending the decision to the Senate, which is Congress speak for. We agree something should happen, eventually. Probably. We'll see. Lawmakers from both parties are now reacting publicly, many calling for transparency, which is bold considering how allergic they normally are to it. Experts say the files could reveal who knew what, when they knew it, and how hard everyone tried not to know it. This segment is sponsored by Black Bar Solutions, TM, the world's leading provider of professional document redactions. At Black Bar, we understand you want the public to feel informed, without learning anything that might actually upset anyone important. In summary, the Epstein files are one step closer to being released, right after the Senate debates, negotiates, amends, delays, and possibly sends them on a nice long vacation. I'm Jerry Blunder, reminding you, truth is optional, but redactions are forever. Blunder, and the world has failed to behave again. Today's headline: the Fed vice chair says they'll be lowering interest rates slowly because of something called economic trade-offs, which is economist language for don't ask questions, we're doing our best. According to the Fed, lowering rates too fast could destabilize markets, but lowering them too slowly could also destabilize markets. In other words, imagine driving a car where both the gas and the brake do the same thing, and you're just hoping the engine doesn't explode. This segment is sponsored by RateMate, TM, the emotional support service that whispers soothing phrases like, "It'll go down eventually," while you stare at your loans. RateMate eared TM, because sometimes the only thing rising faster than interest is your blood pressure. In summary, the Fed says the rate cuts are coming, slowly, carefully, and with the enthusiasm of someone tiptoeing past a sleeping bear. I'm Jerry Blunder, reminding you, truth is optional, but interest never sleeps, and international stability continues to disappoint. Today's headline: Russia is escalating its so-called gray zone attacks against Britain, which sounds less like a military strategy and more like a video game DLC nobody asked for. Officials say gray zone refers to operations that aren't quite peace, aren't quite war, and definitely aren't comforting. Experts describe it as the area between diplomacy and someone unplugging your Wi-Fi just to be petty. This segment is sponsored by FogTech TM, the leaders in strategic confusion. Whether you want to blur intentions, muddle motives, or simply make everyone deeply uncomfortable, FogTech TM has you covered. Literally. In conclusion, gray zone attacks are increasing, leaving officials concerned, analysts puzzled, and the rest of us wondering if we should put vague threats on the weather report. I'm Jerry Blunder, reminding you, truth is optional, but fog is everywhere. Here with a science update that isn't technically alarming but feels emotionally alarming. Researchers have discovered that wild chimpanzees are consuming alcohol daily. Yes, every day. The chimps are drinking more consistently than most people with student loans. According to the study, the chimps seek out fruit that ferments naturally, producing alcohol. Scientists say the chimps appear quite enthusiastic about the discovery, which is research language for, we may need to lock up the fermentation barrels. This segment is sponsored by Primate Pub TM, the only establishment where the drinks are natural, the patrons are furry, and the happy hour ends when someone falls out of a tree. In conclusion, scientists say the behavior is natural, harmless, and surprisingly consistent, meaning chimps may now have a more reliable routine than most humans. I'm Jerry Blunder, reminding you, truth is optional, but apparently so is sobriety in the animal kingdom. Jerry Blunder, reporting live from Washington, where the nation's lawmakers have once again formed a circular firing squad and aimed inward. Senator Chuck Schumer suffered a political blow today as members of his own party staged a very polite, very congressional revolt. Sources say the disagreement was intense, passionate, and resolved nothing, meaning it was a classic day on Capitol Hill. Experts describe the clash as a rift, a fracture, and potentially Tuesday. Schumer reportedly tried to calm tensions, but congressional unity has the structural integrity of wet cardboard. His segment is sponsored by B-Party Zen Tam, the meditation app specifically designed for elected officials, featuring calming phrases like, take a breath, lower your voice, and please don't throw the binder again. In conclusion, Schumer faces fresh pressure, Democrats are at odds, and Congress continues to function like a group project where no one read the instructions. I'm Jerry Blunder, reminding you, truth is optional, But gridlock is mandatory. With an update from the world of international friendships, the kind held together by ammo, empty promises, and emotional codependency. Analysts report that one of Putin's key allies may be losing interest as Russia's military supplies continue to shrink. Which is surprising because historically, nothing strengthens a relationship like running out of everything essential. Experts say the alliance is showing signs of classic geopolitical fatigue, including delayed messages, shorter meetings, and the international equivalent of "sorry, I'm just really busy right now." Meanwhile, supplies have dwindled so low that Russia may soon be forced to fight with strong language and historical reenactments. This segment is sponsored by Alipal TM, the only app that maintains your international friendships by sending pre-written supportive messages so you don't have to. With Alipal TM, you can keep alliances strong even when your ammo isn't. In summary, as military supplies shrink and alliances wobble, one thing becomes clear. Even global superpowers struggle with commitment. I'm Blunder, reminding you. Truth is optional, but awkward friendships are eternal. And that concludes this week's journey through global confusion, scientific surprises, economic improvisation, and the ongoing saga of Florida behaving like Florida. If anything important happens, we'll cover it. If anything ridiculous happens, we'll definitely cover it. Thank you for being here in this strange corner of the internet where the news tries its best. And so do we. I'm Blunder reminding you, truth is optional. But showing up every week for this chaos apparently isn't. See you next week, unless the planet reboots itself before then.